Oil exercise 2, part 1, creating the underpainting. There are 3 photos to choose from for this assignment, and they all have a common underpainting theme, which is that there is a sky and a water feature, such as you can see in the photo in the top right hand corner. And so the underpainting, which is the first part, which is this video, is going to be to create the those gradients for the sky and the water. So I'm working with just thinner for this because it's underpainting. We're not doing the black and white method. We're just going to go straight into color, but we're still using the thinner in order to get the paint to dry quickly. The paint I'm using for this is French ultramarine, which is a purplish blue, cerulean, which is a greenish blue, white, and then a medium yellow. So I'm going to start with the sky, and that's going to be the cerulean blue. You can see in the photo that the sky is definitely a much more sort of turquoise blue than in the water, which is a bit more like a murkier blue and has a little bit more purple in it. So I'm going to start with some white and just a touch of the cerulean, like really not much at all, because you don't need a lot of color to create that mixture. So I've just mixed up a base tone, and I'm going to go in with some thinner, and I'm going to really thin this out, and then I'm going to start from the middle, the horizon line, with a Filbert brush, this roundish Filbert brush, and I'm just going to start painting in the sky color. I'm going back and forth in even strokes in order to keep the smoothness and evenness of the sky. And then as it gets towards the top of the photo, the sky gets a bit more blue. So now I can work in a little bit more cerulean into the mix. And then because it's a Filbert brush and it has those rounded edges, it's going to blend pretty evenly with the color that's already down. And you can also use a fan brush to do your blending if you want as well. And I'll use a fan brush on the second gradient, on the bottom gradient, to show you how the fan brush works. There's gradient number 1. Gradient 2, which is the bottom of the page where the water is. So I can use, I'm not going to clean my knife or my brush here. I'm just going to use the paint I already have. So it's still the white plus the cerulean, but I'm going to now add in the darker blue here, the French ultramarine. So I'm going to add in a little of that. And I think I actually want some Prussian. So the Prussian blue is like a darker version of the cerulean. It's a greenish blue, and that's pushing the color combination a lot darker to where I need it. I can be a little less careful about a smooth gradient on the bottom because the water actually has some shape to it. There's a bit of form on how these like soft ripples look. So I'm going to be a little bit less careful about the blending and a little bit more deliberate on my brushwork. Try to add in the look of some of these wave patterns here. And remember to really load up on the thinner for this. You don't want thick paint for your underpainting. You always want the underpainting to dry quickly. All right, I'm gonna use the fan brush and blur some of the water now, so you can see with the fan brush you kind of use a light touch, and you just sort of feather the bristles over the brush work, and any obvious brush strokes or streaks should be hidden by the fan brush. You sort of sweep it gently across the surface, and it makes like a really nice, smooth, sort of glossy look to the paint. Gives it a bit of a sheen. Okay, last thing to do is there's a little bit of like yellow orange in around the horizon line, so I'll grab some white and a tiny bit of yellow. I don't want bright yellow. I'm looking for a very tinted yellow, so I need a lot more white. Okay, so smooth it over with my fan brush, and then that needs to dry. Hopefully it dries quickly, and then once it's dry, I'll move on to the second